Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video I will discuss two events, two big pieces of news. One, an attempt by the Russians to have a little landing on the right side of the Dnipro River with some boats, and the other one is the Ukrainians attempting to stop the Russian offensive on the three fronts, more precisely on 11 settlements. So let's get going with the first article, and that article it comes from Ukrainska Pravda. It's from today, the 23rd of January 2023. Ukraine's armed forces hit a Russian boat during attempt to disembark, sabotage and reconnaissance group on island on the Dnipro River. So an island on the Dnipro River. And that's the proof right here. You have it right here. Okay. So Ukrainska Pravda, Monday, January 23rd, 2023. The armed forces of Ukraine have hit a light civilian boat on the Dnipro River, which the occupiers expropriated and equipped for military purposes. The details. It is reported that during the attempt of the hostile sabotage and reconnaissance group to land on one of the so-called Potemkin islands on the Dnipro River near Kherson, Ukraine's armed forces hit a light civilian boat that the occupiers appropriated and equipped for military purposes. Such a losers. They didn't have their own boat or something. And I'm quoting, "The occupiers do not understand that everything they arrange for a Russian warship will be sent by the Ukrainian fighters by a single direction known to all, a put based on Russian warship, go yourself." The famous reply, blah, blah, blah. There was, I don't even know if that was true or not. So that's one article. The other article comes again from MENA FN, which is actually Ukrainska Pravda. And we have Ukrinform, I'm sorry, right here at the bottom. So it's very intensive fighting here in this little picture, taken, I don't know, maybe during some drills Ukrainian army, had 5 years ago or so. Ukrainian forces repel enemy attacks on 11 settlements, General Staff reports. The Ukrainian armed forces have repelled enemy attacks near 11 settlements in two regions and launched seven strikes on the positions of the Russian occupying forces. The General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces said this in its early morning update published on its Facebook page. And I'm quoting, "In the past 24 hours, units of the defense forces have repelled invaders' attacks outside the settlements of Stelmakivka and Novoselivske in the Luhansk region, as well as Vimka, Rozdolivka, Bilohorivka, Paraskovivka, Bakhmut, Stupochki, Novobavkvutivka or so, Pervomitske and Marinka in the Donetsk region," the report said. At the same time, the General Staff said the threat of Russian forces using ground, sea and air-based missiles and kamikaze drones remains in place for the entire territory of Ukraine. Thus, during the day, the enemy launched 4 missile and 5 airstrikes. Also, he carried out, the enemy, more than 40 attacks from rocket salvo systems. And I'm quoting, the enemy conducted unsuccessful offensive operations, so the Russians cannot break the line in Liman, Avdiivka and Zaporozhye sectors. They continue to conduct offensive operations in the Bakhmut sector. In other sectors they are defending, end quote, the General Staff said. Over the past 24 hours, the aircraft of the defense forces launched 3 strikes on enemy concentration areas. An enemy Orlan 10 UAV was also shot down. Ukrainian rocket and artillery forces hit 4 occupiers' concentration areas and 3 ammunition depots, end quote, the General Staff concluded. Between February 24, 2022 and January 22, 2023, the defense forces of Ukraine eliminated about 120,760 Russian invaders. So 120,760 Russian invaders, including 600 on January 21st. So quite an achievement, don't you think? So that's one. And that's the other one, the little boat, the light boat. Oh my, the Russians cannot have their own boats, military boats, for the reconnaissance and subversion, sabotage groups. I saw an article earlier today coming from, I think it was Denmark, no, Belgium or Denmark. No, it was Norway. The Norway intelligence, how do you call it, services department, communicated that, reported that the Russian losses from the beginning of whatever happens in Ukraine goes up to about 180,000 Russians. Losses meaning wounded and killed. But that was the report according to the Norwegian intelligence community, like we have ours here in the greatest country in the world, the freest, and yes. Yeah, so the Russians are incapable of breaking through the lines in those regions. Obviously, in the 11 settlements, they're losing. In Bakhmut, they are trying hard, but it seems like they're not doing anything else, and they get blown up on the Dnipro River by the mighty Ukrainian, how do you call it, not air defense, but anyway, I can't find the word. Anyway, the fact is that they were blown up, and that's the main artillery, that's the word. So, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.